Hey, Christian, I thanked Jamie for sending himself to that Chamber of Commerce dinner last night. That don't sound quite right.
That's what I was thinking.
You know, where there's food and stuff, I mean, you know.
That's it. No, he tried to get, I was supposed to win, but I caught got sick the other day and I hated to show up and still being kind of contagious. I was just
Yeah.
trying to start going. So let's just give it, be safe, give it one more day if I do much. I don't want to, last thing I want to do is anybody sick.
That's a nice place, that's the first time I've been up there to that. Go over with that Appalachian View.
Yeah. I think that's where he said that they do.
It's cold up there.
Avery Festival.
Cold.
Yeah,
I think he said that they found, seen, they done some stuff and they could, for their texture.
Cool.
Hey, Miss Davis, how are you? I'm good. It's cold. I just showered too. So, yeah. Oh. Actually, I'm here. I like it right there.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I never did get no legislation back.
Actually, I was waiting for somebody to.
Probably nice to you.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. It's been as bad as I thought it might be, but still.
Is he doing physical therapy?
Started yesterday.
Working on it.
Well,
That's the main thing.
I didn't know.
Uh,
Wait a minute. His plant went through it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But yeah.
You have to have it all done over. So you did it.
I'm terminated as head judge of Eastland State to get it done right, so.
Tell me your purpose before you.
The only thing, kinda hard to cross between here like this.
Oh, yeah. What is it? Whistleblower. No, whistle down. There. No, where did you come from?
Fine, how are you?
I thought it was a button for the yes. No, I woke up to it. I didn't wake up till 9. And then, I went to bed at like 10 last night, I think.
Your body needed some sleep.
Yeah. Did you come up? No, that one's. No, hold on.
I'll get one back here. You need this one? Oh, crap, that's fine.
Hey, Leslie here.
Jerry.
Yeah, it's five, some of them don't get off work till about five, so it might be 5.
Folks, the meeting is scheduled for 5 o'clock. And we're going to give the other board members the opportunity, some of them are not here. We can't have a meeting without a quorum, there's got to be at least 3 of us here, so, we'll give them just a couple more minutes, see if anybody shows up before we can, declare the meeting open or not. We appreciate everybody showing up. It's good to see that many citizens out. I wish we saw this all the time. Get everybody's opinion. So you just bear with us a couple more minutes. We'll see if other folks are gonna show up. We'll go from there and see what we can do. How you doing, partner?
Well, Devin Kingdom,
Good, thank you.
yeah, but it's slow, it's coming back. It really is. It's been about 4 or 5 weeks, been rough. Yeah.
Good. See you out of stir.
Yeah. Very, but I am.
Folks, I always believe not tearing up everybody else's time. We had this advertised for 5 o'clock. Don't have enough here for the quorum, so unless somebody shows up in a minute. As far as an official meeting, we're not gonna be able to do that. But, y'all are here, for those of us that are here, this is not a formal meeting or anything, but we'll be glad to answer any questions that y'all have or whatever's going on. You know, this is just citizens talking, this is not a formal meeting.
What would the meeting be if it were a formal meeting? What's it about? Why are we here?
It is about personnel and department reports.
Okay. Got something to write down now.
Can you exaggerate?
Exaggerate?
Yeah. What you're talking about?
Oh, I believe.
Well, number one, department reports is, we're wanting to check in on some of the departments as a board. Number two, the personnel, I can't discuss that in public. That'll have to be done in closed session. And that can only happen if we get a quorum.
So that's not something we'd be able to.
That's not something you would be able, but I do understand that some of you are here because, and I know that I've been sent this, I assume the others have, about some Facebook social media posts. Well, I can assure you, no one is here tonight to fire anyone. So whoever's posting this stuff is getting everybody up in arms for no reason. Nobody is here tonight to fire anyone. And when we come out of, if we have a quorum, if we get a quorum, someone's getting off work, then you will find out really quick when we come out of closed session, if y'all wanna hang around, what it's about. Because we're not allowed to discuss the personnel, each employee, because of y'all know the HIPAA rules or HIPAA, whatever you wanna call them today.
So why did this require a special meeting tonight? Why couldn't it wait till the December meeting?
Well, reason being is because one of the individuals involved needs immediate action. Needs immediate action. Their livelihood depends on it. Their livelihood depends on it. And that's as far as I'm gonna go with that, Miss Davis, but I mean, it's not, you know, whoever's posting this stuff, getting everybody up in arms and all that, my number's posted right out there on that board, and I'd be glad to answer any questions. But when this meeting was called, it's not to fire anyone. It's mainly to look after the citizens in town.
I would hope so.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
sort of.
Okay. And any other questions, I'll be glad to address. I don't hide anything, nor will I. But I'll be glad to answer anything. Any question, anybody ask me? Yes,
How
ma'am.
much was that building up at the top of Secasa? How much was paid for that?
Okay, at the top of Secasa, I would have to look back. Well, I was on this board when we voted it, and we were told by a previous administration, not this administration, Bill and them, that the turnkey price was $40,000. Well, it turned out not to be that. The current workers didn't pull the permits, so we had to go back and get permits, and then everything just added on top of the other, but we had to finish that, so.
Right, so I'm hearing $500,000.
No, nowhere close.
How much?
I think it's around 140.
I think we're pushing closer to 200 with the
Okay.
addition of that new
It's a
building.
double wide trailer.
Well, it's a modular, it's not it doesn't classify as a residential structure.
Okay,
It's a commercial built, towed to site modular building.
okay. And it's built on concrete?
It's
slab?
on concrete piers,
Piers, okay.
yeah. And it'll have skirting around it, it has heat, it's just office space.
Okay.
And a bathroom.
I thought it was to house the equipment,
No,
the mowers and such.
The big building is, right now it's unheated, we'll have to get heat in it eventually, but it is storage and workspace.
So there's
during the
two
summer.
separate buildings up
Yeah,
there?
there's a small modular building, which is function as the office space, the restroom, cause we have to provide that for the staff out there. And then it's got a shower, just in case there's some issue.
So how much was the bigger building?
The bigger building, I'd have to go pull the invoice, but I think the original price was, it was $37,000, then it was another $40,000, $43,000 to actually build it. So the guy
Why
come in.
didn't they just combine it all together?
We,
Make one
because of the way the original building, which is just a pole barn, was constructed, we couldn't find a way to put an office in there.
Okay.
We tried, that was my first solution I proposed to the board.
So
and we
the
just couldn't
grand
make it work.
total of all of that up there is,
Yeah, between the electrical work we did, the plumbing, the storm drain stuff that we had to do, the concrete in the building itself, the modular, you're looking at about $190,000, close to 200.
okay.
Is it complete, Bill?
It's occupiable, we don't have internet up there, but we've got power, water, or do we have the water hooked up? No, not yet. So we still have to hook up the water, we'll do that ourselves, it's ours. So
How much more before the building is completed?
we just have to hook up water and sewer, and that's staff time when we get time to actually get out there and do it, so that'll be done here shortly.
Are we gonna get lights, poles, new lights?
Mm-hmm.
Cause last you pulled that, you were wanting to pull it out.
Yeah, I
Stop it.
was wanting to pull that out, yeah.
Because once you're going a train down the road and you've paid ahead of time for something and you stop it, you're gonna lose all that money.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, I asked before.
That wasn't about, taking
Yeah.
care of the citizens.
Yeah,
That would harm the citizens.
Well, and this is my way of thinking.
That takes away,
Okay, and what's your name, man?
Jill,
Jill
Ray.
Ray, okay. All right, Miss Ray, and just to state that, I was thinking when I done that, if you drive down the streets of Newland and not hit a pothole, let me know about that, because the roads are horrible.
I thought that 3.5 million was gonna help us.
That 3.5 million is water and sewer.
Okay,
And if they dig up the roads, then they'll have to repay where they dug up, and that will
Mhm.
fix the potholes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good way of paying for that.
Well, the good thing about that is Representative, once again, I'm gonna clear this up, because it's been going around, and like I said, you have another opinion here, you have an attorney. And there's a picture right back there, I think, with Dudley Green and the town board. The Representative Green got us that money.
yes, I know that.
The mayor did not get that money.
I
like
know
her-
that, everybody said that.
Okay, well, he's claiming, and
I
he's
haven't
telling.
heard that.
Well, he's not here to talk for himself, so.
So
Well,
we're on a
That's fair.
train going down the track. with $3.5 million. And we need
3.2.
two. We need somebody to drive this train that has an education and knows what they're doing. That has a good mind and knows how to write these grants and get us in on this
Absolutely.
point. I'm totally against stopping this train right here in the middle of the road.
What do you
We
mean by
need
stopping
him.
the train?
I've heard that we're not gonna be able to get our sewer and water if we don't have certain dots and i's and t's met on contracts.
I've never once heard that. Have you, Alderman Caraway?
There's more contracts in the motion?
I've heard that, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, and
just
sure,
like, yeah, I've
and,
heard it.
and I understand that everybody's reading the Facebook page. A
No,
lot,
no, it's not just the Facebook page.
A Facebook page.
a lot of folks, but, yeah.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is just because we have the 3.2 million, we've got a bunch of hoops to jump through to actually have cash in our hand.
Exactly.
So we've taken the first step, which we accepted, and they sent us some paperwork for, I split it up in half. Water is 1.5 and sewer is 1.6, but, so I sent the paperwork back in, the board passed the resolution, the mayor authorized the mayor to sign, he signed. We're waiting on the state to come back with, what they call an offer and acceptance letter. And there'll be another resolution the board has to sign, or pass, and then the mayor will sign. And then we'll be able to, at that point, have engineering drawings done, and take the engineering study we had from the AIA grant, put all that together, and start actually getting the approval from the state, so we can start drawing money and getting the work done.
Okay, so we're going down the track.
Yes.
Right now.
I'm not sure I know what this, I apologize for not being enough meetings to know what this, what we're talking about here. We're talking about new or upgraded sewer and water here in town, or,
That's what I thought it was.
No, no. You're talking about trying to fix what's existing. In the past years, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and you got the head of maintenance department back here, and I'm glad this is ending up like a town meeting, cause a lot of stuff can get said. I hope the newspapers hear wherever you're at. But anyway, going down through there, around the square in Newland, in that area there, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's 1932 pipe, asbestos pipe still in there?
Yep. There was asbestos growing up
Yeah.
here when I
No, it's
grew
the
up
cast,
here.
right?
Cast pop.
Okay,
I think it was replaced years ago
Right.
with cast. but
And
it
all
has to be
that.
replaced.
And all that stuff needs to be replaced, and that grant money was to replace the water lines and all that, and update them in Newland and sewer, sewer lines. Who got smoke in their house in the last couple of months? Anybody got smoke in their house? Oh,
My office, yeah.
Yeah,
your office.
we were lucky, because we've got a smoke test identified, because can you believe, not to any fault of his, not to any fault of anybody here, because it wasn't never done in the past, not to any fault of that man standing back against the wall right there. Alright, they were left with not knowing where everything was. Nobody knew where everything was. So then we had to pay, I wanna say it was $100,000, but we got a grant, is that correct?
Yeah, $250,000 grants, one for sewer, one for drinking.
To identify where everything was, because nobody knew. Because in the past, you can blame the 80s, you can blame us or whatever. But before, we weren't getting the information, and they found a lot of stuff that was wrong.
Well, what did they do? Come in here and have chips and a party? I mean, that's stuff they usually discuss at a meeting like this.
Mm-hmm. Well, they
I
didn't
mean,
come here and have
there's
chips.
been 20 years going on without anybody,
And it's,
I mean,
and this
what's
right
going
to
on?
answer your question, as far as going down the road. When I took this seat, it'll be 6 years this year. When I came in here, the town was in the red. Alright, the town was in the red. You've got the town administrator sitting here agreeing. And he was on the board, you remember, we were in the red. Alright, the police department turned around, had the chief and that officer right there.
He's a good man.
And there was no drug dogs, there was no, enough to do 24-hour coverage or anything. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of the board because we have went down the road. And now granted, I understand that people like street lights, but it's like I explained the last, and I didn't get to finish answering your question. Let's say then you go and buy an old barn. And we paint that barn and we put like a pretty little roof on it. But the floors are rotten underneath. It's still an old barn with rotten floors. And what myself is interested in, I can't speak for her, him, or him. But what myself is interested in is let's fix the structure. Let's fix the infrastructure, because if your infrastructure fails.
Well, I mean, I've watched y'all's videos, and nobody can agree on anything. I watch it,
That's
I think,
exactly
well,
right.
you'll say something and somebody else will stop it and everybody will be going along and trying to get things fixed in the infrastructure.
Or you pass something and then you regret passing it and blame other people for it.
So I'll start building my barn floor. I say, okay, are we all together? Let's get together. Are we on the same page? Let's fix the barn floor. Well, then somebody comes in, no, let's not do that.
Ma'am, if the whole board, as a board and individuals, have the same information, then we can discuss that among ourselves. Our main thing that this board has struggled with, me personally, and I can't speak for those that are not here, is coming out and not getting the picture. We got this problem, but there's another whole problem that we don't know anything about.
So you go in closed session.
There's a lack of communication between.
Are they allowed to go into closed session, Gerald?
It depends on what it involves.
The only thing
Our statutes tell us what you can go into closed session for.
The only thing we ever go in closed session about is personnel.
You do it over like, to get legal advice from me over something. It's a real narrow set of things that you can go into closed session.
You called a special meeting, but only 2 of you showed up.
I think the other
Were
people-
everybody, they weren't in agreement with having this meeting?
They were in
I
agreement.
don't think it's because they're late from work.
They were in agreement. They got an email today from the clerk that the mayor said that you had to have his signature before you can have this meeting. And it terrified them. And that's not the case. You don't have to. I've been on the phone with the School of Government and all that. And I requested that legislation be sent to me via email today. I mean, it was a text message. I'll be glad to share it. My email's public record. Please come up here and look at it.
Well, you just said a few minutes ago those running late for work.
Okay, I don't know why they're not here.
Well, you
But
said
you
you
double speak. You double speak.
I'm assuming.
You spoke this way out of this mouth and then that way out of that.
No, I don't think I did, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you did. You said they're late for work, they're late for.
I said some of them get off at 5
What I
o'clock.
heard him say was some of them get off at 5. He didn't say they were late for work.
I didn't mean to say
Give them
late
an
for work.
opportunity just in case
I withdraw that.
before we start. As mayor pro tem, I called the meeting. That's any 2 aldermen or the mayor pro tem, according to statute, can call for a special meeting if they list what it is for. That's what I did, because, and the reason I did it, I'm outgoing, I'm the lame duck here, I'm off from the board. But I was approached by 2 other aldermen individually and asked me to call this meeting because they wanted to ask questions on personnel matters and they wanted to get answers from department heads. That's why.
Well, who are the personnel here?
Hold on. Can I ask a question? In regards to the personnel, that it's an immediate thing that you guys needed to talk about, can you at least tell us like the general reasoning? Like, are they in danger? Why is their livelihood immediately going to be affected by this? You don't have to tell us who it is, but.
Monetarily.
Monetarily?
Monetarily.
Okay.
Okay, so the rest of your board doesn't care about this?
Jamie, that's gonna be resolved.
I'd like that resolved this evening.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a finance officer here that does checks. No? What have we got?
And like I said, we can't call names out.
Well, I said that, I said that you can't say the name, but just give us
Because
the general
I
reason
heard that he
why
was
we're
gonna
here.
get fired, and I love this man. He's done
He's
so
done a
much.
great job.
I mean, he has
Social
helped
media
me
things for action.
get things
Yeah.
straight since my whole family's died. And he
Yeah.
has helped me
Yeah.
get everything in order, things that I needed.
Okay.
He's not giving me the runaround or anything like
understand.
Yeah,
that.
I have my personal.
The person that was here before, this is off the record, I shouldn't even say this, if this is being recorded, I won't say, I won't go there, never mind.
All right, Ms. Ray, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
All right, and like I said, I'm not trying to be hateful or anything like that. And I appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure I knew your father. Ken?
Yes.
Super guy. Miss Lewis, where are you getting that we were going to call a meeting to fire someone? Let me say this. It would be ridiculous for this Board of Aldermen to call a meeting on November the 15th to fire a town administrator when they're appointed in December. Why would you do that? So whoever's reporting this stuff on social media, I would love for them to come and talk to me.
My personal opinion is, I think probably between you and Christie and Kenny, that y'all three make a majority. And so it wouldn't matter what Gail wanted or Lauren, because y'all would outrule. And this is Kenny's last meeting, because the next meeting starts off, he goes out and Keenan comes in.
Okay.
So this is, why, you know, it's such an emergency, so urgent to do this. Why?
It was.
Because of
Terry thing.
Because Derek's out of the country. Good timing.
We don't know that.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, gosh.
How would we know Derek's out of the country?
Because he's our mayor and you're on the board.
Okay, and he reported that. Like I said, you're once again.
Did you not know he wasn't coming to the meeting because he was out of town?
Yeah. But. Go ahead. You're gonna stand up.
I'm sorry. If I know he's out of town, and I don't have anything to do over here, everybody knows he's out of town. I would hope, as alderman, you know, when the mayor's available, when the mayor.
He did not communicate to any of us. Did he communicate to you?
He does not communicate.
Communication doesn't mean you get to know.
Whatsoever, whether it's town business, personal.
Whether or not you communicate, I would hope.
I can tell you this, the mayor we have has never communicated with me on a personal basis, except to do personal things and insults that's just between two men. That's neither here nor there. I try to be a gentleman when I'm here, I try to be a gentleman when I'm outside of here. But as far as having any personal contact with him, being informed of what he intends to present to the board, whatever, no. I'm an older person. Like when I went on the board, I don't do emails. I carry a phone.
That's what, yes,
Call
sir.
me. Call me. All somebody has to do, any of you or any person on this board can call me at any time.
I can answer that question. Did Derek tell you he was out of town?
I knew Derek was out of town.
Yes, I think he did tell me he was going to Aruba.
Okay. Was there an email sent out to everyone who was out of town?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, we don't keep up with Derek when he's not here.
And I'm not splitting hairs about whether or not he communicated to you or not. I mean, I heard it from 3 people, and then I heard it from, texted him and asked him, and heard it from him personally. But, you know, whether or not he communicates, I mean, everybody knows I was in a car accident, and I totaled the car and it's dead and all that, but I didn't call everybody or text everybody or call or send emails, whatever it is, however people want to communicate. I mean,
But you're not the mayor of a town communicating with the town board, Nathan. And
Does he have to tell you guys when he goes out of town? Is that a regulatory thing? So then why, you know, I mean,
But I'm just saying, nobody called this meeting because they thought he was out of town. I'm sure that's something that they would like to say, and I understand, I understand where you're coming from, Ms. Davis. He was politicking for you.
Do what?
He was politicking for you,
Well, I guess it didn't work, but that's okay. I'm probably better on this side of the fence than I am sitting up there.
probably.
Yeah. I am.
If I, let me kind of, so what I've heard tonight is that this is about, there's a check there, there's a piece of paper over there, I figure out, I can assume what it is. This is about a financial matter for one of our people that was needed to get addressed tonight. And
Yes, sir.
if that's the case, I appreciate calling the meeting. I would go on record as to say, I'm disappointed. And I am inferring the reason for that and why this has to be done now. I'm disappointed that there wasn't one other person. If this is really needed right now
Yes.
for a
Yes.
town
Yes.
board, I thank you guys. I am taking you at face value that this is what the reason to call. Thank you for showing up. I'm disappointed there wasn't a third person. If there's truly a need out here. And I'll also say this, one more point, I'll also say this. If there's a need, and this needs to get done, after we're done, come across the street, let me know what it is, I will do it. Excuse me, the end, as Shady Lawn,
Okay,
will do it.
and we appreciate that, yeah.
I will say this, and then I think we've gone far enough unless there's other questions about something else.
I'll be glad to answer them all night.
Yeah, when I was approached with this thing, I felt like what was happening with the individual, and I will not call his name out, the employee or
Yeah, that's
anything
fine.
else, because that's not what we're here for, it's a personnel matter. But at the time it come out, I thought I was well versed, and I hope I still am on our town policy of the money that was gonna be due this person, and he was not being paid. It was to the point, it was a financial strain for this person. I told him myself, until I can get it resolved with the town, I'll come up with money, I'll loan it to you myself, and I'll try to settle it with the town. The attorney tells me that's been taken care of, so that problem's solved. That was the whole point of getting this meeting, was to be fair and honest to the town employee.
Okay, Ms. Davis, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think this is a prime example of how dysfunctional our board is when y'all can't even get a quorum for a special call meeting. Pitiful.
When did it get taken care of is what I'm wondering.
Just today,
Just now?
we had no idea there was a check.
I was coming out of the driveway
Okay.
when
all
I
right.
was notified of it 15 minutes ago.
And I was out here.
So that might be why the other board members didn't just show up. Maybe that's why, did you guys let them know that it's been taken care of?
I didn't let nobody know. I didn't know there was a check, Miss Ray.
That's what I'm saying.
The only thing I
We
know-
weren't made aware there was a check.
Yeah, it's just convenient is what I'm saying.
We were not made aware of it, till the attorney just told me that it had been taken care of. When I sat down here, I was planning on coming to this meeting, coming out of my driveway. Jamie called me, said, I know you don't get the emails and stuff, but I've got this stuff, said the meeting's canceled. And I said, what do you mean the meeting's canceled? That's the first I heard about it, and that was about 20 after 4. The meeting was at 5. That's when I was notified. I was the one that asked for the meeting. One of the other aldermen, Christy Hughes, was with me when I asked for the meeting, so I feel sure she was aware of it. But anyway, I did not know the meeting had been canceled, or for what purpose, or how it was done, until 30 minutes before meeting time, so I just,
And there is an email that was sent by another member that stated they would be here.
so that's all I know about it.
Like I said, and for the record, when I was elected by the people in Newland, I was elected to show up, and I'm sure some of you were here, I think I recognize of you, when they had the planning board meeting, right? And it was just the mayor and myself. I was sitting
You're the
here,
only one that showed up.
but I show up for all the meetings, or I try my best. Because I gave my word when I was elected that I would try my best to be here. But no, whoever's telling you folks that somebody was going to get fired tonight, that somebody was having shots took at them tonight, and all that is filling you full of crap.
Well, thank you for putting that on the record, because
Putting that on the record, put it right in my face. Nobody was going to get fired. Nobody was going to get sent home. We're just trying to right what we thought was a wrong, because it involves someone's livelihood. It involves someone's keeping their family and self up. And to me, that required a special meeting.
and two of y'all showed up for it, so.
Well, the others might know that it was resolved. I can't speak for them, Miss Davis. But,
When are we gonna get new water pipes?
So,
well, that would be a question. As soon as the grant gets here, that would be a question for that guy right back there and this one right here.
Well, there's several more processes. So like Bill said, you know, we filed the one, we have probably two more, then you get engineering involved because the engineering has
How
to do
much
all the
help
stuff.
do you have to do all this? You have to do this
Well,
yourself?
This will be
that's not,
contracted.
yeah, that's not gonna be on
This
us.
will all be contracted out, and
Yeah.
with winter coming, we're looking at starting construction in April. So hopefully I'll have all the stuff together, the board will have all the
So we're gonna have
approvals.
clean water and sewer, and we're gonna have lights.
Do we have dirty water now?
No.
I mean, I've been drinking this stuff. Nobody told me.
Okay, if I could interrupt you
I don't
for a
think
second. Miss
Jay.
Ray, once again, you bring up good points. I would love for you to come serve on this planning board with us.
I already asked and they won't let me,
Why not?
cause they don't like me.
We like it.
Who don't like it?
I'm not telling.
But there's always room for people who wants to volunteer. Right, Alderman Caraway?
That's correct. You don't
It's a
do
long
this thing on
story.
personality.
I don't think I
You
want
do this on personality. You look at what's best for the town is what you do. And my whole thing here, the whole time, I'm leaving out after 8 years. And my whole thing, and they're tired of hearing it, and I've had them tell me, we're tired of hearing this, no big eyes and little U's. Everybody here needs to be treated the same, whether it's one individual or it's the biggest business in town. And when I'm looking at it, when we're talking about budget money, I don't care if we're talking about $50 or $5,000. That's not my money. That's y'all's money. That's my neighbor's money. That's how I look at it. But I've been called Dr. No.
Thank
If I
you,
don't
Mr.
understand
Howard.
it,
We
and I don't
appreciate
think it's the best thing for the town, if I think I'm right, I'll stand up for myself, and I'll say, that's not right, and I'm voting no. That don't mean that when I fully get the picture from the administration or from other board members, till I know what I'm voting for, then I might change my mind. But until I've got the full picture of something, if it's gonna cost you $50, or if it's gonna cost the biggest business in town $5,000, I'm not gonna vote for that. That's not my money. I wanna know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And I appreciate people trying to serve in, and you said, this lady said, might have been glad she wasn't elected.
yeah.
Man,
After
You
what
don't
I've
know.
seen what the board's done, I'm
You
better
don't
off on
know.
here, holding you accountable for what y'all do.
you know, I appreciate it. I don't hold any personal grudges against anybody. Still wanna be here. I've been here, everybody says this, that, and that. What do you know about Newland? Well, I'm just an old boy from down on the river, but I've been in Newland for 55 years. I've seen and done things here that most people have forgot about.
So we are not losing this man, right? He's not going anywhere, and the thing is if he ever does, I promise you, till you're ready to go, okay? We, as a town, I think collectively, from my understanding, we would be very upset. And I just want you guys to be aware of that. I want everybody to know that that is my opinion and many others. So just know, like, if this does happen at some point, and it's not out of a, good reasoning, like something really major happened, or he chooses to leave, everybody's going to be extremely upset.
The only thing, well, they may be upset, but at the same time, encourage this gentleman to be more forthcoming with the rest of the board. We have talked with him privately, one-on-one. I'm not stepping on any toes, Bill. I was the man that pushed to hire him.
And that's great, but I'm just
I was
saying
the man
moving
that
forward.
We wanna keep it.
He'll make the motion for the board to find. All I ask of Bill is to be more forthcoming and giving the full board the information he has to let that board, whomever they may be, make that decision. It's not a one or two person decision to be made, it's the whole board to come together. All we ask out of administration here, keep us all informed, department heads and board members, till we can have an informed decision. You can't make a decision on knowing part of the facts.
And follow just the laws. You know, if we gotta do RFPs, let's do RFPs.
What decision would I be making? All I'm saying is if something does happen in the future, I think you just missed my point completely.
No, I
Okay, that was all that I
Okay.
mean, so,
All right,
thank you.
But on the other hand, like I said, I mean, you know, and I would love, if y'all would tell me, I'd love to sit down and talk to them. Because there ain't nothing like good old communication now.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I would love to talk to whoever told them they were gonna fire him and whoever got y'all up in arms. I mean, you know, because, and I'm not trying to call anybody a liar, but basically, they told a lie.
So that just came out of complete and total nowhere.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't.
Well, I'm just saying, you kept saying if y'all fire him, I was addressing.
Well, no, where something, yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
something does happen to him and it's
Yeah.
wrongful termination
But-
or anything like that, yeah, we will be upset. Now, if there's a reasoning for that,
Sure.
sure, of anybody, okay?
But nobody
But-
planned that.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, y'all thought that this meeting was here back addressing that we were gonna get rid of him tonight.
So why did you take away his, the list of what his job duties were? Y'all revoked those at the last meeting.
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why? Because he's doing too good of a job and is taking credit away
No,
from y'all?
no, because we felt like we were not fully informed of the issues coming up.
So you're micromanaging everything he does?
That's
And
what
the
the
rest of the
board
town
does.
board, the town employees? That's not what a board does.
Yes, it is.
Micromanage? Then why do we have a town administrator? He's the one that's supposed to micromanage.
The town administrator is to carry out the rules set forward by the board.
Right. But
And
y'all
the
get in
general
his way all the
statutes,
time.
and the general statutes. Like I said, and I'm not getting into closed session, but, you know, the board had your reasons, and I'm sorry I can't go into that any deeper. But he's gonna get a new one. Part of it, I'll go ahead and tell you, was because by general statute, the little clerk has to answer to the board because she's a.
The little clerk? You're gonna
What?
call her the little clerk? Oh my gosh.
But, but the clerk was, you know, has to be appointed by the board. And it was in the last statement that it was controlled by the administrator, and that's against statute. You know, I mean, like I said, I mean, you're welcome to look at one up, so.
We've got Gerald. Gerald knows what he's doing.
Some people would question that.
No, you didn't.
And remember, there's a huge difference here.
Do what?
There's a huge difference between a manager and an administrator. He is an administrator. That is the way the town charter was set.
Okay, so what do you see as the difference then between the two?
The difference in administrator and manager,
Yeah, what do you see
the administrator is hired by the board
to administer?
to administer what the board wishes, to follow the guidelines and all that. And like I said, that's the main difference.
Dale, what do you think?
Well, I looked it up today.
Good for you, Chief.
And, what it says is that the town administrator's main job is to oversee personnel and to do anything else the board tells it to do.
Yes.
That's the two things, but the big thing is to oversee personnel. Town manager has a lot more statutory stuff given to it. My recommendation was gonna be to the board is that I think the new board needs to sit down and have a workshop or something and come up with a policy about what the administrator ought to be doing.
Yeah.
And put it in writing, you know, give dollar limits on, make decisions about buying stuff. And, cause I think the board, there's certain big things the board does, but the administrator, he's kinda like he could be a lot more CEO kind of guy. But we do not have a policy in place now about what else he does except look after personnel.
Well, we had one, it got revoked at the last meeting.
Yeah, and so, it's not in the policy book about that, but, that's something that I was gonna recommend, is that there be a workshop to develop a policy about, cause there needs to be a box that that Bill would understand where he acts. And what, and other things the board needs to know, and at least needs to know, and help him decide what to do. That's what makes sense to me.
That goes back to the communication thing that Kenny was talking about, because there is a very broken communication, and they're jerking him all around with this stuff. So a workshop is perfect.
I can tell you something about workshops, and Jamie will back me up on this. In the 8 years I've been here, we've addressed this several times and asked for workshops. Let's all get together as a workshop, as an informal thing, and all the town board members sit here and have a workshop and discuss it. We need new personnel policies, we need this, that, and the other. Try to get the rest of the town board, not calling out names, because there's been people that's come and left, that's been on the board and whatever else that's been there before. And we've come to the workshop when there's nobody here except Jamie and myself. We say, where's everybody else? We call them and they say, we couldn't make it, Duke's playing tonight. That's what the interest they were showing you think. If you don't have enough interest to show up, in 8 years, I've missed 6 meetings in 8 years. The last 2 that I've missed is because I was out of town or I was at the hospital.
I don't think you've been here since June until a couple of weeks ago.
I missed a meeting.
You missed several, like 4 or 5 in a row.
He couldn't miss more than 3 in a row, or we had to reappoint someone.
June, I think was your last
Well,
meeting.
anyway,
Doesn't matter, just saying.
Buddy, that's my statement, good luck.
Yeah, he only missed 2. Yeah, he only, but anyway, Ms. Davis, going back to what you're saying, that job description was that of a town manager, okay? And
We implemented it, y'all did, and then you took it away?
yes, after we read, and we were against general statute. We were going against general statute. Please look it up. The clerk has to be appointed by the board. And in that description, it had that the clerk answered to the administrator. I mean, Gerald, can you weigh in? It's in the statute.
No, I didn't know.
Yes. So, but please look it up. Don't
He's
take my
over
word.
personnel in general, and department heads answer to him, answer to our administrator.
Yeah. Our police chief is appointed, the public works is appointed, the town administrator.
And a town manager, that is one big difference is, town manager serves at the pleasure of the board. They can can him tomorrow, for any reason, okay? A town administrator, there's a policy here that they gotta follow with him like they would any other employee. So if they discipline him, he's gotta have 2 meetings, 2 warnings, a final warning, then something can happen to him. So there's a whole list of procedures that have to follow to do something disciplinary like that to a town administrator. In fact, that's what we ended up in a lawsuit over with the prior administrator, because everybody thought that it was a manager and they served at the pleasure of the board. They don't. That they have built-in due process rights. I serve at the pleasure of the board. I can be out here, you know, it's, that is a statutory thing.
Absolutely.
I have a question. Why could this meeting not been held as a special meeting instead of having to go this route that you attempted to do?
This was supposed to be a special meeting.
You gotta have 3 people, you gotta have 3 aldermen here to have a quorum, and they can't take any action.
Why, is this something you could not have handled and it had to be a public
Yeah.
issue?
That's it, you have, a special meeting has to be a public meeting, so you have to do 3 things, I think. You gotta put it on a bulletin board or on the door out there.
Check.
You have to send it to the local media that have asked for it.
Check.
And and if there's a town website, you gotta post it on it.
And I think you have 48 hours or something that you have to let them know.
48 hours, and it's gotta be 48 hours.
Could this
Yeah.
not be handled without a meeting?
Privately, yeah.
Yeah,
Why did it have to be public?
why did it have to be a meeting?
Oh, there's a public meetings law in North Carolina, it's, in the generals.
And this
I got it
personnel
right
matter
here.
couldn't be handled without this meeting?
I think they're saying, why did this have to be a meeting, why couldn't it have been
Right.
a conversation?
Well,
Like
the
I
board
said,
wanted a meeting, is all I can say.
the board decided on the meeting
They
because
wanted a meeting.
it involves personnel of an individual.
But then nobody showed up, or a large group of you.
Well, I don't know, I showed up.
But yeah, we're not.
And you would have to ask them that, I can't answer.
Well, so given the fact that Derek is out of town, and I'm sure that you guys didn't know before, say this morning at 10
You're
o'clock.
assuming wrong, I knew nothing.
Okay, well, somebody on the board had to have. I'm sorry, out of 5 people, that's kind of not. Why didn't you go ahead and, you know, just be like, hey, let's wait on the mayor to get back also? I mean, I just think that that's kind of right. I mean, because he is part of, he's not part of your vote, but I mean, that's kind of important.
If I didn't know about it till 20 minutes before it being canceled, how could I have known?
No, I'm saying because you knew he was out of town, why didn't you wait? Somebody on the board had to have known that he was out of town. Why
This was a personnel matter.
Why did we know?
Yeah, like, I feel like that he
Yeah,
should have been a
why
part of that. I'm just saying.
He's out of town, you know.
Well, I'm just saying, out
Well,
of you
because
guys,
you're
there's
in
somebody that had
charge
to
of the
have
meeting
known.
if he's not here.
And he came in to do the meeting, and if he wasn't here. I mean, he was given the same notice, and part of the reason that he doesn't have a vote.
I just said that he didn't. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that it's
I
just
understand
kind
your
of
stand.
immoral, honestly, and not ethically.
Moral?
Yeah.
Moral?
Did
Okay.
not to involve somebody that is a huge part of our town. I think that's just not right.
Moral? Okay, I appreciate that.
Chairman, I think I've answered all the questions that I can honestly answer to these people. I've been just as open with them as I can be. Folks, thank you for the last 8 years. I'm really looking forward to my retirement, and, I wish this new board coming on the very best. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you think you're the only, if you don't understand what's going on, ask questions till you do. If you think you're doing the right thing and you're the only one, stand up for it, stand up by yourself, but do what you think is right for your neighbors in the town. Folks, thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure to serve y'all for the last 8 years. I've made a lot of good friends here. I hope to keep them.
And I'll be glad to answer any more questions for you. I'll be glad to stick around. You're welcome to.
Dennis, what you do yard?
Had to have shoulder replacement. Injured it and then it was just too much arthritis.
What's your recovery time like now?
Well, I'm 2 weeks in. I started PT yesterday. And, I've got another month of motion physical therapy and then we're building strength. So 2 to 3 months probably.
Well, it's okay, I really think I.
Deal, this is really together. It was fireball. I'll be there. He was saying. You